Hi, welcome to Through the Detours podcast by Wendy Lois. For my tribe, thank you so much for coming back to listen in. If this is your first time here, this is a space where we give positive vibrations. We have conversations that are triggering, raw, true, and everything inside of that. And we just try and make life a load lighter by having all these conversations. Listen in today, but make a point to go back and see what we have been discussing and consider at this point being part of this amazing tribe. We have a group of people who rally behind us and just ensure that positivity, healing, and well-being is part of it. And a fundamental part of our lives are the people we meet along the way, and we constantly choose them as they choose us. And for me, I am because they are, and these are my friends. And at this juncture, you need to follow me on my social media platforms so that you can see the people I'm talking about. I am surrounded by a pack of powerful, wonderful, phenomenal men and women who rally behind me and push me in my dreams and slap me on my cheek when I'm slacking behind. And this got me thinking of how the dynamics of friendships have changed over the years. The longest friendship I have had is about how many years now? 12 years of solid friendship. We met in high school, and the rest has been a beautiful unfolding, and beauty in ashes and beauty in splendor, because we've had our rough patches, but I am very happy that we have had a consistency of choosing each other. And today I just wanted to do a reflection of myself and the contribution I have had in my friendships and how I think I have evolved through them. And I will start by primarily saying this year has taught me to be a good friend to myself. That is that is something that I think most of us don't really think into it. You know, do you have an existing friendship with yourself and a relationship, or do you just go through the waves of life, you know? And you can only pour out from abundance, and that means you have to pour into yourself first. Then from the overflowing cup, you can pour to other people. This year, 2023, I will say it again, has been quite a year, full of roller coasters, but I took a break to just figure that all out. And when I came out on this other side, I realized for a very long time I had not been my own friend. I was very busy loving the outside. I was very busy showing up for the external forces, but I never showed up enough for myself. So number one, I think as a person, I have really grown into showing up for myself. I check in with myself a lot nowadays, you know. Hi, Wendy, how are you? How are you feeling? How are you doing? You know? And that has really grown the dynamics of how I look at life and generally who I am, and being gracious. I used to beat myself up a lot. If I made a mistake, I didn't know how to come back out of it, you know. I felt like I had been labeled or acquired a label, you know, because I couldn't get that right. But I've learned to be very gracious, to be very patient, with myself and say, listen, girl, take it easy. You have to take it easy. You're gonna be fine. So in that breath, that has had a ripple effect on my friendships. And the number one thing that I think I've poured out more, even in my adulthood, is being intentional. I came to a realization that the forces of life can really push you to just being in a space where you're doing life and then continuing and going through it, and your friends, because okay, fine, we are friends, we spend a lot of time together, we do things together, then we are friends. But do you really have the intention of being a friend, intentionally saying, I choose you the way you choose me? So that has been one arm of it. I have really been intentional about it, and that means checking in on them, regardless of the distance, regardless of the time differences. I have been intentional that I write it down in my mind. I write it down on pen and paper and say, I will have a call date. Are you available? Can we touch base? Can we communicate? And that intentionality has brought in a lot of care. I have seen myself growing into being caring, and that goes out of the sphere of the spaces that we share right into the things that are important to my friends. And when I say friends, I don't mean external people only. My family, who we've cultivated a growth of friendship. That's all the friendship I'm talking about. My mom is my mom, but she is my best friend. So when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about her as well. And just caring about the things that she cares about. So if she cares about her career, if she cares about her health, I'm intentional about also caring about that so that I can be of a positive force towards that. I have become a better communicator. I am laughing because I am seeing some of you, my friends, say no, but I, as much as I'm in the communication field, that's the irony of it. I am a communicator by profession. I used to really slack when it came to timely communication. I don't know why, but in this space, I just grew into intentionally and deliberately communicating. And communicating has come in the form of, when I have been wronged, when I feel uncomfortable, when I feel like it is not right, I communicate. And that love has made me be able to be very open and vulnerable and genuine. That, hey, Mark, you hurt me. That made me feel bad. I communicate rather than bottling it all up inside, then start projecting. So I have been able to communicate that this is an area I would like for us to improve. This is an area where I would like for us to panel beat. And that came from the abundance of love. And then I have learned to show up and be present. Right now, with young adulting, we are all getting into a space where we have gone into diverse worlds. And through that diversity, the support of just ensuring that you are there for them in a language that they would want to be taken and cared of has been very important. For example, I think maybe this is like a year ago, and part of the transitioning of this journey of my friendship, there's one day I sat down with my bestie after watching some movie, and it has taken us this many years for me to look into her and ask her, actually, what is your love language? We've actually, and in Nairobi, we've had this spree of everything is flowers and anything, every celebration, flowers. But she told me she doesn't care much for that, really. She doesn't care much for flowers. She would rather a handwritten note that expresses what you feel about it. And after we had that conversation of what love looks for us, it changed everything, because then I was able to love her and to show up for her in ways that mattered to her. And the truth about loving our family, loving our friends, is we love them from the point of what love looks for us. Not sitting down and saying, oh, actually, by the way, they could not be feeling loved and appreciated from the perspective that I'm looking at it from. For me, for example, if you show up for me, that's a great love language. You know, if you show up for my family events, if you show up to support, for me that is more than enough, more than gifting, more than anything. So I have intentionally made it a point of priority to love on them in a love language that they care for and they understand best. And just generally being very supportive. In the different career paths that we've taken, I have taken keen interest to understanding how is it that I can support you in the field that you are in. Is it by praying for you? Is it by having some tasks done for you and not doing it to please them necessarily, but pouring to them from the abundance of what I'm already pouring into myself? And so being a very supportive friend and ensuring that I can cheer them on if it's a business. And I will say it again, no free things. You know, I have learned to give referrals and genuinely expressing that we need to make a purchase. We need to make them have a source of livelihood. And just blossoming in love for me has made me become a better friend to my family, a better friend to my friends who have become part of my tribe. And even in the online fronts, you know, just being intentional and deliberate about taking care of what they care for, you know. And for you, it could be different quarters. It could be your parents. Have the grace to love on them, to be very patient with them, to encourage them, to support them. Some of us just need people to believe in us. And I think I have seen myself transition through this, and it gives me so much joy because it is coming from a place of abundance. And Ubuntu, I am because you are. You know, we all are because we have a community around us that supports us, that believes in us, and that encourages us. And I pray to God that over and above it all, I can remember to just pray on them, pray for them, for my friends in my family, my friends in the outside quarters and different quarters, and just have that blessing to bless them in that spirit. So I leave you with that. You are because they are. And so just do a little bit of check-in with yourself. First, start by being a very good friend to yourself. Be patient with yourself. Be gracious with yourself. Mistakes will happen. Forgive yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be loving to yourself. Then, when your cup is full enough, you're able to be loving to your family. You're able to be loving to your friends. You're able to be loving to the outside community. And how you can love me, how you can be a good friend to me, is by hitting that plus button on every podcast platform that you're listening to me from, and hitting that subscribe button and coming here and growing this community. And I would like to know, for you, as you transition through the different phases and into adulthood, how is it that you have become a better friend? How is it that you have become a better person in your home, a better person in your school, a better person at your working place. Thank you so much for listening in. Please be loving, be kind to one another. See you on our next episode.